What's going on, everyone? So earlier I made a video diving into Zach Lavine and how he was seen with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, caused a big stir. It was just a clutch kind of draft day. It was a clutch event, which is why it made sense. Everyone was there. If you want more information, go check out that video. But I figured that I would kind of let's stick with the Zach Lavine Laker narrative, right? Now, again, I don't believe that Zach Lavine is even on the Lakers list at the moment, right? He was an option and a target this past trade deadline. He ends up going having surgery. I think a lot of that was the Detroit Pistons rumor, and Chicago was like actually trying to get some assets. They need to kind of move off of Zach Lavine. We'll see what happens. Obviously, Lakers, Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, even DeMar DeRozan, right? There are several pieces that are on the pecking order before you even get down to Zach Lavine. But one of the things that I was talking about in that previous video is, to me, it depends on what would be the cost and what else could you do and get, right? So like if Chicago wants like 2 firsts for Zach Lavine, no, keep him. Good luck to you. But if they're essentially just trying to get him off the books, and what if they were to throw in an Alex Caruso? Right? What if you could convince them, like, hey, right, like we'll take Zach Lavine, but we want Caruso attached to it, right? And what if you could position yourself to still make other moves? So, for example, right, one of the things that the Lakers are interested in doing potentially is giving D'Lo an inflated contract, right? So teams like Orlando are interested in D'Angelo Russell, and they can offer him, I think, up to like 19 million. Right? Well, the Lakers could come in and say, hey, we'll give you 25, we'll give you 30, whatever, give you a huge inflated contract, and then use that to go make trades to kind of upgrade the roster, maybe go get a piece or two, right? But team like Chicago, you could go to them and be like, hey, you want to clear, Zach Lavine's money off the books, right? Okay, well, what we could do is we could just sign D'Lo to like a $36 million contract, throw in like a Jalen Hood-Schifino, throw in like a Gabe Vincent. You give us back Alex Caruso and Zach Lavine, and then maybe you throw them a first because you're getting Caruso in the deal, right? Like, and Caruso, teams would probably give up a first for Caruso. You'd probably give up like a protected first. Right now you got Caruso and Zach Lavine that you added to the roster alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but also you'd still have Austin Reeves, you'd still have Rui Hachimura, right? You'd still have technically Jared Vanderbilt if you wanted to or needed to, right? So you'd still have several pieces. You'd also still have 2 firsts, like 2 pick swaps and 5 seconds that you could package together to go get other pieces. What if you could still get a DeJounte Murray? Right? What if the Lakers could work it out to where maybe they go do the Zach Lavine trade, you go get Zach Lavine and Alex Caruso, then you turn around, take your 2 firsts, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and you go get maybe you go get a DeJounte Murray. Right? And now you got that, and maybe you could even get another piece out of them or something. Right? And now imagine if you had DeJounte Murray, Zach Lavine, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, or you go with Caruso and have Vando come off the bench. So, I mean, that might even be better, where you have something like a DeJounte, Lavine, Caruso, LeBron, and AD. Good luck. Right? That's starting 5. Good luck. Especially Caruso was shooting like 43% from three-point range last year. If that can maintain, right? You have a guy that can just go get a bucket in Zach Lavine. DeJounte Murray can go get a bucket, but he could also be the playmaker. LeBron James could basically coast during the entire season. He'd probably coast during most of the playoffs, too. Anthony Davis could do Anthony Davis things. You got Alex Caruso, and you could still have a bench. Like, go sign Chris Paul at that point, because you probably need another playmaker, and he'd be cheap. Go like Chris Paul, have Jared Vanderbilt, maybe keep Taurean Prince. So you go Chris Paul, Taurean Prince, Jared Vanderbilt, Christian Wood, and then bring in a Valanciunas, and there's your 10. Or Max Christie, right? Maybe you're able to keep Max Christie. Maybe it's Chris Paul, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, Christian Wood, and Valanciunas. Again, good luck. You're 10 deep. You got size. You got versatility. You got switchability. You got athleticism. You got everything. Everything you could ask for. You're probably one of, if not the best teams in the league. But the only thing that would be troubling would be injuries. But to me, it's like, if you could get Zach Lavine dirt cheap. Again, I was campaigning for Zach Lavine last trade deadline. But again, it was because there was no one else really. We were incredibly limited. I wanted DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan was the guy that I was for like months like, go get DeMar, go get DeMar, go get DeMar. And I would still rather have DeMar over Lavine. Now Lavine is more athletic. He's the better shooter, right? But he also has a lot more, like DeMar DeRozan has been Mr. Reliable, one of the most clutch guys in the league, right? He's a guy that has been a model of health in a lot of ways, right? Like there's a lot that goes in, like there's a lot of reasons why I like DeMar over Lavine. Lavine might make more sense and be a better fit, right? Zach Lavine would make a ton of sense next to LeBron and Anthony Davis, but I still just kind of lean towards DeMar DeRozan. But if you told me we got Zach Lavine for essentially D'Lo, like that's a clear upgrade that makes a world of sense. And you basically have him through this LeBron era and all that stuff, and then their contracts would align, and then you basically have like $80 million just falling off the books. Like at that point, you'd have like, let's say DeJounte Murray and Anthony Davis. If Zach Lavine still goes, you sign him to a smaller deal and then just keep adding whatever you need to add, right? You go get that other star or whatever you needed to, right? I mean, DeJounte Murray, Zach Lavine, and Anthony Davis post LeBron is still a pretty good setup, especially if you still have like Jared Vanderbilt, Alex Caruso, guys like that. Like, I just think it would be a good setup for now. Again, comes down to cost, comes down to other availabilities. To me, it would still be kind of the last thing on the list, right? Like, to me, I'd rather, can we get Donovan? No. Okay, can we get Trae? Okay, no. Can we get DeJounte? Okay, no. Can we get Garland? Okay, no. Can we get, like you kind of, like if all else fails and you were like, hey, we weren't able to get anyone else, but like we could swap Zach Lavine for D'Lo, why wouldn't you want to do that? Right? Like, and some people might think, well, if you go get Zach Lavine, like why even trade Rui and Reeves at that point, right? They could be good pieces. But like, it's just, do you really want Zach Lavine and Austin Reeves in your backcourt? Like, don't get me wrong, Zach Lavine showed a lot last year in Chicago. One, he was actually pretty good defensively. Like, surprisingly good defensive. And he has the athleticism, right? He has the foot speed. He has everything you want to be a good defender, right? He actually was playing some very good defense for a while before he ended up getting hurt. He also was doing a really good job of making plays and being that playmaker, right? When he came back, so, like, remember he got hurt, came back before he got hurt again, and then had the surgery, right? He was a guy that, like, came in and was actually working well with the team, making plays. He, like, bumped up his assist total, right? So, like, I think that he's a guy that could make a lot of sense, but, like, there is a risk to Zach Lavine, and he is making a ton of money, right? But to me, it's like D'Lo could be your answer, right? Like, so to me, like, again, I don't know if I would trade Rui and Reeves and, like, Gabe Vincent or whatever for Lavine, but if you could swap D'Lo for Lavine, I just think that you could do worse, right? I think like you're getting a clear upgrade in that regard. You talk about a guy that's an absolute bucket. I mean, even on a bad night, he's going to give you a 15 plus. Right? I think he's a guy that fits perfectly alongside LeBron and Anthony Davis. He's a guy that wants to be a Laker. It's a guy that has publicly said he wants to play alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. He's still young enough to where, you could have him for the next 5+ years and he'd probably still be effective, even as he starts having a decline, he could just be a bucket getter, right? Like, I don't hate the idea. Again, I wouldn't sell the farm for Zach Lavine, but if you could do, like, a reasonable swap, right? Or if you could get Alex Caruso attached to him, now I'd probably start leaning towards some other stuff, right? Because I just, like, even, like, Reeves, like, if you could, like, let's say you got Zach Lavine, and you could, like, let's say you swap D'Lo for Lavine, and then you swap Reeves for Caruso. Like, again, I think you're better, right? Caruso was a better three-point shooter last year, far better defender, right? Like, yeah, Austin Reeves is probably better all around offensively, but you don't really need that if you have Zach Lavine, right? Like, especially if you go get, like, a DeJounte Murray or some of that on top of it, but, like, let's say you don't. Let's say it's just Lavine, right? Like, if you can get Alex Caruso attached to that too, then it's like, it just makes more sense. Like, you could have Caruso, like, you could even, if you wanted to, have Caruso play the point. So Caruso at the 1, Lavine at the 2, Vando at the 3, LeBron at the 4, AD at the 5. And then Caruso could just be your initiator, right? You kind of go the 2020 model where, like, yeah, you had, like, outside of Rondo, obviously, because he was the guy that could make plays. But, you know, you look at like Avery Bradley and, you know, even Alex Caruso and guys like that, they would just kind of initiate. LeBron was playing the point, but you'd see other guys kind of bring the ball up, initiate, give it to LeBron James, and then they'd run their sets. So you could do that with Zach Lavine or, you know, Alex Caruso, have them bring the ball up, get it to LeBron, and then get into your actions. Like, I think that could work too. And, you know, you could go with, like I said, a Jared Vanderbilt, Alex Caruso. Now you got your big, athletic, versatile defensive wings. Zach Lavine, again, he showed that he can actually play some defense if he can buy in and lock in on the defense side of things. Anthony Davis, you're probably one of the better defensive teams, if not the best defensive team in the league at that point. I mean, the Anthony Davis and Jared Vanderbilt by themselves make you a top 3 to 5 defense. You add in an Alex Caruso and maybe a bought-in Zach Lavine, all of a sudden it's like... But again, it kind of boils down to like, I don't know, like I wouldn't sell the farm for Zach Lavine. But if you could work something out to where you inflate D'Lo's contract and make that swap, now I think you're talking. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of maybe doing like a D'Lo, like I said, like inflate his contract, you know, $36 million or whatever? That way you could swap him for Zach Lavine. Do you think no? Don't do that. Stay away from Lavine regardless. Right? Do you think like, oh, it depends on what else you get, right? Like if you go and do that for Lavine, if you do land a DeJounte or something, then yeah, then it makes sense. Go do that because at that point, Lavine's like your third, fourth best player at that. Like at that point, good luck. Again, I would feel whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you like this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.